Hello and welcome back to the Purpose Pursuit podcast with me, Hannah Miller, joined by my friend and colleague, Laura McClellan.
Hello.
Laura McClellan, previously Laura Weller.
Yeah.
What else do people call you if they don't call you McClellan?
McLennan. That's my mum actually calls me Laura McLennan.
McLennan.
We've tried so hard to get to say the right one.
They can't get all the lils. The trouble is when you've got it stuck in your head wrong, it's sometimes really hard to say something
Really
right.
hard.
McClellan.
She doesn't even get my first name right, to be honest. She calls me Hannah, my sister's name.
So I get that too. I used to get called Kim, which was the dog's name growing up, which is really low bar.
Yeah.
Do you get the MAC or the MC?
A lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually nominated you for an award recently and wrote Laura Weller and completely forgot you'd been married for a whole year.
Yeah, I know.
Did they put Laura McClellan on the actual
I changed
thing?
it. But then they read out McLean.
Oh.
Yeah.
Laura McLean.
Laura McLean.
You are clean.
Yeah,
you are a clean person.
I hope I am, yeah.
You are definitely a clean person. So Laura's here with me today, not to talk about her name, but because we thought, well, first of all, I thought it would be more fun to have both of us on it, but we've chosen to do a bit of an Ask Me Anything podcast episode, which is particularly about the book, but not just. We said people could ask what they want, but we are in the run-up to the book. The said book, which is, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see it on the table. If you are listening online, you can't, but I'm holding the book up to the microphone. The book is actually present in here, but it's not for the general public until 4 weeks from now. 4 weeks tomorrow. 4 weeks in a day.
So exciting.
So if you're listening to this at the wrong time, you might be able to bite by now, because the 4th of December, go on Amazon, go on Waterstones, go on Foyles, go where you like, go to the Great Smith. Oh my goodness, you can buy it. So we thought we'd do, the next few episodes are quite book related in one way or another. And we asked our friends on socials and on the internet and on email if they wanted to submit questions. So I haven't seen these questions.
No, you
could be you are asking me anything.
Literally anything.
And I love being put on the spot. Do you like being put on the spot?
Absolutely not.
This is where we're so different. I think I'm better when I haven't thought about things too much.
Absolutely.
I start overthinking.
Yeah.
But you like to be thought through.
Yeah.
And my son likes to
I'm
as
having
well.
an adrenaline rush right now.
Because you're not on the spot.
I know, but
It's
I'm
live.
just nervous.
Oh, but it's so much better with you. We should do all of them together, I think.
Oh my word.
Do we think I need a podcast partner, though? This is a question.
Yeah. Everybody, email in what your thoughts are. Does
Yeah.
Hannah need a podcast partner?
Yeah, I think everyone's going to email in and say, Laura McLean.
Well, that's not me, so you can do that if you want.
Okay, so shall we just get on with it?
Yeah, we'll get on with it.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so we've got some book-related questions about the writing process, about the content of the book. We've got a couple of purpose-related questions too.
Ooh.
So we'll start with a really, really hard-hitting question.
Oh, gosh.
How many hours did it take you to write the acknowledgements about me?
Oh, my goodness. To be fair, I had to ask them to extend the deadline, didn't I? I was all good to go, but I was like, I can't get this down. I can't write it. It took me hours to craft it as exactly as I wanted to. You are in the acknowledgements.
I am in the
You are in the acknowledgements. I love you very much and I owe it all to you. In fact, I should have dedicated the whole book to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't believe you haven't.
No, I can't believe I haven't. I could have put
Maybe
to
next
Laura
time.
McLean.
Yeah.
I owe it all to you.
Okay, well, that was
Hours.
actually a joke question.
Okay, ha-ha.
So our first real question
Yeah.
is, what's the first thing you're going to do on the day of the book launch, or kind of the day after? What's the first thing you're going to do?
Be
That
sick.
moment of relief. It's
think I might
happened,
be
you've done
sick.
it.
I don't. It's a really good question. I don't know. Like when it's actually out there. Oh my goodness, that's a weird thought. I mean, I suppose they might arrive in the post. If you've pre-ordered them, they could arrive on the day because they don't guarantee they'll arrive on the day, but they could. The audio will suddenly be my Audible because I have ordered myself on audio so I can listen to it. Oh my goodness, I think actually, well, I am going to do a podcast episode on this. I'm a bit worried about feeling really exposed and naked.
Yeah.
So I might hide under a duvet. I hope I can do some celebrating and actually see it for what it is and enjoy the moment as it actually has arrived. Everything about this has felt very, very surreal. Yeah. It's also been a very difficult year. So actually celebrating something like this has felt a bit odd in the middle of it. And I know you know what that feels like because you had a bereavement and a wedding. So you had that whole mix of emotions. And this year's been really quite a slog. And this feels a bit like, oh, it's come at not a great time in lots of ways. So I'm hoping I can like celebrate. I probably will feel quite emotional because certain people aren't here to experience it. But I would like to celebrate with family, with you, and maybe we should go to a bookstore.
I think we should.
Because this is the only one we've got. Just to be clear, this is the only one we've got, so it'd be lovely to see it. But what about if we go to a bookstore and it's not there?
It will make very good content.
And it could be down a back corner. What we could do is we could move it and we could put it in the window.
Yeah.
Take Richard Osman's book out the window because it's always in the window and put mine in front of it. That's what we should do.
And we could do some signed copies.
Maybe we could do a whole social media thing where we ask people who are purpose pursuit people to just go into the local bookstore and
move all your books to the front.
Yeah, that's what we should do. That's what we can do on the day. Yeah. Let's go and do that. Let's go to Foyles. And if it's not in Foyles, we could bang our fists on the table and say, why haven't you got this book?
Get it here right now.
Right now.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'll try to answer the questions quicker than that. That was a long answer.
It was absolutely fine.
Okay.
It was absolutely fine.
Well, you need to just say wind it up, Hannah, if I'm talking for too long.
I'm not going to do that. Okay. Next question.
Yeah.
Does your book voice sound like your podcast voice, your social media voice?
Do they mean the written voice, as in
Yes,
rather
your
than my
written
audio voice?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I would like to know what other people think. I think it does sound like my voice. In fact, somebody said that and I can't remember who it was. Oh, I know. One of the people who was an early reader, an endorser, she actually said to me, I feel like I can hear you talking to me. In fact, two people said that. Scott said that too, who was also an endorser. Somebody was reading it as an early release. And they both said, people who know what my voice sounds like, they said it does sound like you talking. So, and do you think that?
Oh,
because obviously
absolutely
Laura's read
does.
it and read it and read it.
Yeah, no, it totally does. When we were recording the audiobook version, when it got to a few like sentences and a few bits, the guy, like the producer, would go, "Oh, very sassy."
Yeah, he did, didn't he? He said sassy brackets.
Yeah, there's lots of brackets and lots of like little additions, which it really is you. It's like you're just talking.
And I hope that's good for people, especially if they're not used to picking up loads of books, and they're not massive readers, that it feels conversational. Yeah. That was the idea.
Oh, it definitely does. And that kind of leads on to another question, which is, what feedback from early readers moved you the most or made you think, oh, wow, I wasn't expecting that, or that is so encouraging?
I think the fact that people said it was like this companion, and it felt like lots of people gave this impression that as they were reading it, it felt encouraging, like a comforting companion, which was also giving practical advice. And there was there actually is one bit, I think it's in here, if I can just... This was lovely, what Professor Nick Harding said. He said, some books you read and some books read you. This book is a beautiful tool for personal development and change. And I love that idea of some books you read and some books read you. And this book puts an arm around you. There's lots of kind of... I think what I loved was that people were so generous in what they said. But there was a theme. It wasn't like they said, this book is the most intelligent thing I've ever read. Nobody actually said that. But they did say it was comforting, it was friendly, and it was really practical. And lots of people said that in some way, shape or form, which was what I was hoping to do. There was another thing I was going to say, actually, that has just gone out of my head. Completely forgotten it. That's my age and stage. Let me see if I can open the book and see if it reminds me. Comforting. What was it? There was. Oh, I know. There was a woman who, in the final stages, was asked by Penguin to proofread the book as a sort of separate from the editorial process, like a copywriter proofreader. And she found me on social media and she sent me this lovely message, which really blew me away because I didn't know her at all. And she just said, I want you to know that I've been reading your book as part of work. And she just was so kind and generous about what she said and how much she'd enjoyed it and how much she could see who I was as a person coming through the book. That was a massive boost for me. I think that's probably one of my favourite things that happened. So thank you to that lovely person. I think her name's Jo. Thank you, Jo, if you're listening. Thank you, Jo. It meant the world to me that you bothered to do that. And that just goes on to a wider point. If you want to give someone some encouragement, just send them the message because you just have no idea how much it means. We're all just flapping and panicking, so it's nice to be encouraged.
Speaking of flapping and panicking, another question, in fact, quite a few questions are about this, which I don't know what that tells us about our followers.
Clean
But they want to know, did you have any existential crisis when you were writing? Or what was your lowest, I just can't do this moment?
Oh my gosh.
And what got you back up? What made you go, right, I've got to do this, I'm doing this?
I did have existential crises moments. Sometimes I think there are some days where you feel like you've got nothing to say. There are some days when I think what I found challenging was sometimes knowing where to start. So there'd be some days where once I got going, I would really flow. And I know I'd text you and say, I've written 2,000 words. And there are other days I'd text and say, I've written 3 words today. And those days were really hard. And I think what I've learned in that process is some days you just have to recognise it's not coming and it's not going to happen. I remember spending a lot of time in my bedroom when I was like hiding and trying to write up there in my dressing gown with paper all over the floor. Those moments were sometimes quite hard. Or I'd get up really early to try and get some done before life was happening. And especially, there was a lot going on. So as I was writing the book, my husband's mum was in final stages of terminal diagnosis of cancer. So the family had a lot going on. And one of my children was overseas for several months. So that was one aspect of the writing part that was quite a lot on top of a job, you know, and all the other things that you can continue to do. So that was difficult. And I think another thing that was very difficult was the day I lost all of my references.
That was a dark time.
Oh my gosh, it was so dark. So dark. It's probably one of my overriding memories of the whole writing process is realising that for 1 or 2 chapters, I can't remember, all of my referencing.
And it's such a disgustingly fiddly-diddly job.
Anyone who's written a dissertation knows that this is hard.
Awful.
And my book has got all the references in, which is good, by the way. So if I comment on something and you want to know more, every single one is in the back. But I read loads of articles. I read loads of watch YouTube videos. And I lost them all because I think I overwrote it. I think I did one of those classic Google Doc things where you overwrite and you don't make a new document. And that was dark because I'd lost it all.
So out of respect for Hannah, let's all read the references
please
thoroughly.
Read them.
Every single
them.
HHTTP,
every little footnote that you see, every number, go to the back diligently and look at that and realise that was an absolute depressing day. And I remember I just had to dig in and do that and think, great, I've lost time because I have loads of time to give to this. Now let's just waste loads of time by deleting all the work you've done. And I think Jude had a training day for his M&S job. This was before he left for travelling, actually. This was an earlier chapter. He had a training day at M&S in Merry Hill. And I thought, I'll take you over because it was a really fiddly place to get to early in the morning from where we live. And I just sat in a coffee shop all day, different coffee shops, actually. I think I spent half the time at the M&S coffee shop and then felt embarrassed that I'd been there for so long. So I went to another one and just thought, I'm not going to move on until I've finished doing all of this. Gosh. It was hard. Yeah. My Google history was a lifesaver, actually. That definitely helped me. So that's probably the darkest day. Note to self. And then another dark moment is when you have to do edits. And actually, we didn't have loads of edits, did we? But sometimes it was change the order of the chapter around. And I would turn that into this massive thing in my head of like, this is awful. I'm never going to be able to do this. I can't change the order. I can't do this. And so I'd procrastinate it. And then I'd realise when I actually came to do it that probably took me an hour. Yeah. And I turned it into this thing in my head that was like this massive... I find doing detail edits a bit sick-making. Yeah. I'm not brilliant at that.
But you did do them.
I did.
And you should be really, really proud of yourself. And actually, even like with all the editing that DK did for us as well, when you got to do in the audiobook, the producers were like, we have never ever seen really a book that is so like there was basically nothing wrong with it.
There were no typos.
Nothing at all.
And they said, even when it's been through process after process after process. So shout out to Jasmine, Elizabeth, Freetha, and Joe and anybody else who read those early edits because they didn't find any errors. No. And they said that was unusual. Go us. Go you.
Okay, next question. What advice / process / concept have you written about in the book that you actually find it most difficult to do yourself to follow?
Oh gosh, this is the classic of anyone who works in advice giving, is that like, do they actually listen to any of their advice? Good question. That is a really good question. I'm just going to think about that for a second and open the book and have a look at the chapters to kind of make me think, what do I not always do? I think sometimes there's some stuff early on around understanding seasons that I felt quite challenging of late in my own life. And as I was reading the audio of that really spoke to me as I need to remember this and apply it to my own life. And I've been really reflecting on how I talk about this in the book, that I really love summer, and I by nature want to live in perpetual fun times. And I think I've been reflecting on really embracing different seasons, because you can't have growth again if you don't have pain. And I think that's something I can struggle to live out. I can see it as a concept and think, yes, this is right. I don't think I always find it very easy. I want to live on the fun side of the island. You know, Madagascar, do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
When they draw the line in the sand and it's the fun side of the island. And I want to live on that all the time. And I think I'm learning that you can't, and actually that is growth. I think sometimes the self-sabotaging behaviours that are in chapter 6, I definitely haven't got those all under control. Especially comparison. I find it so easy to slip into comparison as a measure of whether I've been successful or not. And that's a daily challenge, not a daily challenge, but it's a regular challenge for me. I read something the other day where it was in a book, actually, it was in a novel, and the person was fictitiously talking about a conversation with their therapist, who was saying to them, you do have a choice not to feel this thing, you know, and you can like literally put it in a boat and watch it sail away. And I was like, I'm going to try that. So
that
when
sounds quite nice.
It does, doesn't it? So I was thinking about when I'm feeling comparison, or that's not fair, which I can sometimes feel, why don't I just put that thought into the boat and just watch it sail away and think I've got agency to do that. Absolutely. I don't have to coddle it. Yeah. I don't have to soothe that little thought and give it loads of airtime. No. I can just go, off you pop.
Yeah. And I've heard it before that you can let the train come into the station, i.e. the thought into your head, but you don't have to board the train. No. You can actually just let it chug away.
Or you can let the bird land on your head, but it doesn't have to nest. Or you could just not let a bird land on your head, which would actually be horrific.
Better, probably.
Yeah, my mum would hate that, a bird landing on her head. That would literally be that's her worst nightmare. There was a film called The Birds, which was a Hitchcock movie. For some reason, my mum went to see that and created a deep-seated bird fear. It was definitely, so no, we don't want birds landing on our heads, and definitely not nesting, or trains we don't want to get on. No. Or boats we don't want to be
Sail
in.
Sail on,
yeah. Exactly, especially. So there we go.
We should add this into the book.
A whole section
Words to live
metaphors for what you can do when you have an unwanted thought. You do not have to coddle it.
Okay, next question, kind of off the back of this maybe, is if your past self or younger Hannah could read this book, what part would she need the most?
It's funny, I've been looking at photos of younger Hannah just lately for different reasons. And I was thinking about her and who she was. I think younger Hannah probably most needed to hear about imposter syndrome. I was in the wrong school year, and not because it was an administrative error that nobody ever realised. I'm a September baby, and when I was little, the decision was made for me to lose a year of school. So I went from year 3 to year 5. I completely missed out year 4. And I think there was a lot of benefit to that. A negative was that me and my friend Charlotte got separated and we were no longer together. Hello, Charlotte, if you're listening. But I think it started a bit of a thing in me around, do I actually belong here? And do I have to prove that I should be here? And I think in recent years, I've realised that was probably a bit of the foundation of that thought. There's loads of other things like, you know, having an accent or the family you come from. But I do think that younger me could have done with understanding where that thought was coming from. And again, doesn't mean it's true, doesn't mean I have to live by it, but definitely think that. And also, I don't think younger me really knew what my strengths were either. Yeah. And I think I don't think I saw personality at that age. Who does? But I definitely don't think I realised that were things about my personality that were my strengths and my gift. I think I just thought everybody did that. Or how do you use those strengths, that personality, to make good choices about how you're going to live your life? And I think if I'd have known that, I may have made some different choices about where I studied. Well, not where I studied, what I studied, or what I chose to do immediately after uni. Luckily, I did learn quite quickly and make quick decisions after that. But I think some of that season I would have done quite differently if I'd have known this stuff.
Yeah.
And I actually think, excuse me, I need to cough. I actually think some of this stuff, you don't have to be like 40 years old to read this book. I think if you are at any kind of precipice of your life, this is, it's not that hard. Like, your sister is ideal to read this, Han.
Absolutely.
Because she's thinking about what's next for her, and there's loads in there that she could take from it.
Yeah. And as you're talking about strengths, in the book, you actually created your own activity where you can kind of identify what sort of personality, what sort of strengths you kind of have. So that, I know we work like in the corporate world with strengths like Clifffinder, the Clifffinder strengths. We definitely don't work with that. We work with Clifton strengths.
Yes.
But you've created your own little kind of quiz you can do in the book, so it is really practical.
Yeah, because I couldn't put Clifton Strengths in. It's not my product, and it's a very in-depth assessment, which is really useful. But I wanted something that was deep enough to give people some meaningful feedback, but not proprietary, something that was mine. And so I took some of the stuff I've learned about personality, and we've come up with several types. That help people see the kinds of personality types I have. And when you go through the book and you do that, I encourage you to focus on the top 3 that you come out with, and to use those as a bit of a guiding light as to, right, well, what does this personality type need? So, we've got that in there as well, which is really, it's got a bit more to it than just doing a little, online BuzzFeed quiz, but it's not got the level of rigour that a 2-hour deep assessment's going to give you either.
Yeah. Okay, and kind of off the back of that, we had a couple of purpose-related questions. So what do you say to people who say to you, I just don't know what I want to do anymore. I feel like I'm just stuck. I'm just at a loss. I don't know what I'm good at. What would you say to someone going through that? Well,
I'd say read my book. Hashtag. No, but I would also say, if you are feeling like that and you're listening, I think one of the first things you've got to do, and it is the first chapter of the book, it is the first chapter of part of my course, you do have to stop and properly diagnose what's going on. I think if you move as much as I love to move to action, and I am a quite action-orientated person, you've got to work out what is the root of those feelings, because sometimes it's actually because you're burnt out and you've been doing too much of a good thing, or you're doing things without boundary. Sometimes it's because there's you're spending too much time doing things that are really boring and you're exhausted through boredom. Sometimes it's because you're in a life season that's actually very exhausting and a lot of letting go and a lot of pain. So I think you have to do some of this diagnostic work, and I'd always say to do that first. Then I'd say, get yourself reacquainted with your personality and start to look for those mini clues. This book is for everyday people with everyday lives, with everyday issues, the stuff of life. It's not for the people who think they are, born to be unbelievably extraordinary. By the way, we're all extraordinary, but we're not necessarily, that's not who I'm catering for. It's aimed at people who are wanting to love their families, love their friends, have a meaningful life where they make a difference in their everyday life that they want to cherish and improve, really.
Yeah. And I would say, like, my favourite bit of the book.
Yeah, what is your favourite bit, Laura?
I love my acknowledgement.
Oh, she does. She loves that.
Just kidding.
We're going to say it every day when you come to work.
I'm going to get it printed.
You should.
Yeah. But I love all of it, but I do particularly love the introduction. I know I've said this to you so many times, but the way you basically go through and say what purpose is and what it isn't, and actually how you pull together all of your thoughts and your experience into what purpose really is and who you've written this for, which is exactly what you've just said. The practicality of it for the everyday person. How can this not just be a whimsical thing up in the air that maybe we'll achieve one day, but actually purpose is something that you can bring into your everyday that can make life just feel more meaningful.
And I think we've got a problem with purpose. I think we've got a problem because it's either this ethereal thing that I can't get my head around, or because of that, people are then saying, well, don't bother with purpose because it's just going to leave you disappointed. It's not something that's attainable. You've just got purpose peddlers who are trying to make money. There's somewhere in between there, which is actually, what does living purposefully look like for you, me, everyday individuals wanting to live that meaningful life? Let's not throw it out completely. Let's not put it on a pedestal and make it like this holy grail thing that you're then going to just feel like you've never attained and only a tiny number of people do. that's what I'm trying to kind of break down in the book. And a spoiler alert is that we're going to record the introduction as a podcast episode. We're allowed to do that. The publishers have allowed it. And so you're going to get that as a little sample. Is that next week?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yes, it is,
okay.
yeah.
There you go then.
And then kind of just slightly off the back of that, somebody has asked, what would you say to someone who feels like they're too late to pursue their purpose?
Well, I'd say unless like you're, about to move into eternity, it's not too late. And even then,
There's your
that's
answer.
purposeful it's not too late because all we can do is with what we've got all we can do is make the best of the time we have.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no point looking back and thinking, I would have done that differently. I would just say, take the opportunity that you have now. And yes, some doors will be closed to you. If you are 85 years old, you probably can't retrain as a medic. Yeah. You could probably do the degree if you wanted, if you wanted to fund it yourself, but maybe not medicine. But I think most things you have to recognise, well, there's certain things I can't do because those are not available to me. But the problem with that mentality is we then stop looking at what is still available. And if you read online the stories of some of the people who've gone on to do incredible things, much to popular opinion, a lot of them are over the age of 50 at least.
Yeah.
And we've got this obsession with youth in this country, which I have no problem with young people. I adore them.
Thank you.
Yeah, you being one of those. But I don't think that doing something young makes it better than doing something older. Yeah. Some people choose to do other things with their earlier life and do something different when they're older. There is no sort of time frame that you're on. And I think unless you literally think my time is coming to an end, why can't you do something different or find something purposeful? We've had people on the course who are already retired, go on to do different things with their retired years because they've realised that actually there's some things I want to pursue. I want these in my life and I'm going to move towards them and make use of the person that I am. Why not?
I love that. Okay, and then to kind of wrap everything up, what is the one thing that you would love your readers to finish the book knowing, stopping, changing, having a takeaway from the book? What's the one thing that you'd love for them to have?
Well, I write a little afterward, don't I, in the book, which I'm not going to read out because it's special and it's a sort of a gift to the reader when they get to the end. But my hope for the reader is that they have felt seen and they have recognised they have unique contribution to make to the world, that it's missing if they don't make it, that they may not have everything they want. There's lots of things that you and I can't do, but there are things that they can. And I would love the reader to feel empowered and encouraged to just be themselves a little bit more and take those courageous decisions. And courage looks different. Like courage might be getting out of bed and going to work again the next day. It doesn't have to look like setting up a business, goodness me, but that they would feel the sense of courage to move a bit closer to the life that they're made for. That's what I would hope.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. You're beautiful.
Oh, you're beautiful too.
Thank you. And so are all of you. Thank you for listening.